This is the Griffin Realty Group Ask-A-Griffin podcast, episode number 63. We continue with our agent plan, and the question on the table today is, are you setting up your database like an assembly line? Are you a home buyer or a home seller who has questions about selling or buying residential property, or maybe an agent who needs direction, but you just can't seem to find an easy way to get your answers? Well, then, hey, you are definitely in the right place. I'm Danny Griffin, the founder of the Griffin Realty Group and the host of the Ask-A-Griffin podcast. Now, to help you take immediate action, to get started in the right direction, if you need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future, or maybe you want to become a real estate agent, or somebody wants to take advantage of a better strategic approach, well, you can get all our help for free with our free step-by-step guides that are waiting for you at griffincourses.com. All right, let's get started. In this episode, I want to talk about this. Why is your database something that you should set up like an assembly line, right? Is it set up that way? And so it sounds cold when you start talking about your database and you understand that these are contacts and these names relate to human beings, and human beings need some TLC, some tender loving care and some service, right? And then you start to use words like manufacture. It doesn't sound right at first, but I'm telling you, in my experience over a long period of time, the minute I began to get up above my business and see it like a manufacturing plant, I finally got how to manufacture relationships. And that's the first point here. In your database, you're trying to grow the number of quality relationships you're manufacturing. So think about that. For me, when I was really getting strategic, I'd done business as a transactional style agent. Who's next? And always trying to find that next idea. And instead of seeing the whole strategy and just taking a minute to figure this out, what are we really doing in the real estate business? Well, we are, in fact, manufacturing relationships. Let me explain. If I get a contact, I get a fully formed, I call them fully formed contacts. In other words, I have the full name, I have the email address, I have the mailing address, and I have a telephone number. That's a fully formed contact. So there it sits in my database. Now, what do I attach to it is a label called lead. So a lot of you hear leads, and that's all you think about, leads, but you don't really think about the contact beneath it. So really what's happening, it's almost just a disposition. What is the disposition of that contact? When I first put it into my database, it's a lead. And what is a lead? A lead is a contact where we know nothing about why they want to buy or sell property. And really, we don't know anything about their motivation level to do something now or really soon. So those become two very important things or tools, if you will, when you're manufacturing, to get after this manufacturing process to see if there's going to be a relationship that can grow and be manufactured inside your plant. So think about this before I get to the next point here. The idea is we're trying to produce an end product. And as you know, not everything is part of the end product, not all the raw material. So that brings us to the second point here, is that sifting and sorting through your raw material leads, you're trying to find your prospects and clean out the rest. So early on, as we're thinking about this, and this is actually a huge problem for real estate agents and why they don't really ever grow a business, is because they always see the end result. They see the first piece, the raw material, the lead, and they see the sale. So somebody's already a past client. And nobody ever works on the piece of their business in the middle. So I come back to my manufacturing concept. If you want a lot of past clients being created on the regular, well, you don't just go to the lead pile and keep buying them. I can tell you this as a long-time top producer agent, and still to this very moment, a coach to many top producers. I know the problem. Top producers get so addicted to creating more past clients with speed that they simply go to the next shiny object lead generator and they get far too many raw materials, far too many leads. In fact, I'm starting to wonder if these leads that they're buying and acquiring are even leads at all. Are they even real contacts at all? Because the math just doesn't seem to work out. There are a lot of inquiries that are just strange, random inquiries that never lead to much of anything. And I'm not talking about the people who simply hide and can't be found or ghost you. I'm just talking about be careful when you're buying leads from anybody. So, because a lot of people have to overpromise to get you even interested in buying leads. So this is a real problem. So let's just say that I went back and I squeezed down to the best quality contact/lead I could get. Because what I believed was that if I got a better raw material to start with, a better lead. So for example, I wanted better seller leads. I recognized that the business was really predicated on listings, getting them, controlling them. When I say controlling them, what I mean is at my company. We want to get those listings so that we control our inventory, so we control our own business outcome. We're not hoping somebody else goes and gets the inventory so that we hope we can find something to sell. We want to be proactive. So we wanted seller contacts who could start as leads, who could start as the best quality leads. What do I mean by that? Well, for a long time, there were many people that would go to offer home evaluation online. Well, then that just proliferated to the extent where everybody was doing it. And then some of the big technology companies using their algorithms to take a guesstimate of what the property would be worth. So there was all of that, and it was just what everybody else was doing. And that has nothing to do with really manufacturing these quality relationships. It's about capturing contacts. What does that have to do with offering our best stuff for free? Not much. So I went in a very different direction to try to find the best leads because it's less work to sift and sort through the best quality leads than it is get this huge pile where you're hoping to maybe skim some cream off the top. And see, in the sales business, when you're trying to build a book of business and do business with people that you don't know, which as far as I'm concerned is everything, that skill set to learn how to do business, make an offer to these people and end up doing business with people you don't know. That really is the act of prospecting. So in my world, and to share with you, I had to come up with a manufacturing visual where I could see these raw materials coming in, and there's a stage, a gap between turning them from a lead into a prospect. Let me define a prospect in my mind's eye. A prospect is a contact who moves to the next step where now we do know why they want to sell or buy a residential property. And secondly, there's a high level of motivation. On a scale of 1 to 10, we like to try to keep them at the 9 to 10 range to really say that there's a prospect. In the time frame, somewhere from 6 months or sooner, and at the maximum 12 months or sooner. I used to think 2, 3, 4 years. Yes, I have systems that can follow up forever and will get you. But when I'm trying to run a lean plant, I can't be thinking about people that really didn't have any reason why for several years down the line. When I'm not doing the best job that I can, manufacturing those people from lead to prospect that do have a reason to do something inside the next 12 months, if not the next 6. That's the time to really build relationship. So we're sifting and sorting all those raw material leads, which we started off by getting a better quality lead to begin with and fewer of them. Hear me say that, top producers, fewer of them. Most top producers don't have anywhere near the sifting and sorting manufacturing in place, the people in place, the systems in place to go through all the leads they buy. I mean, I have people still that I coach this day. I say, how many buyer leads are you getting? 90 to 100? Are they even real leads? How do you get that? Did you ever search your area for homes for sale and see if you come up that much? Doesn't make sense. So here we are sifting, sorting through basically a pile of manure. So what are we doing here, folks? And you don't have the telemarketing staff to get on the phone and speed through finding out, are there real prospects in there? So see, we have a real problem here. Because the point is, even in a lean machine like I run in my book of business, we're looking to clean out the rest. In other words, if there's no real reason, we'll be pleasant. We'll give them whatever information that we can to empower them, but they are not going to stay in the database. I know some of you are going to argue with me and say, oh, well, you can do. I know. I know. I've done it all. I've followed up with people for years, but I needed to do a better job with the people inside of 12 months to make my business predictable. So I cleaned out the rest. Yes, they're gone from the database. There's nothing worse than a bloated database of nebulous, uncertain prospects that you're following up with. And I see it every week, even in my own coaching program with my top producers. I catch their telemarketing staff not bringing a lead to a certainty, whether they are truly a prospect or not, and then having them deleted for something else, in my case, out of the database. So the last point here in this is to really work hard to manufacture the best material that becomes part of your happy past client list. So let me talk about this. So really, I wanted to focus today on this manufacturing of a prospect. That's the key concept here. However, the ultimate manufacturing finished product is a past client and a happy one. So what I have learned, I'll share in this third point here, is that when I did indeed focus on a better seller lead, and I did make a very quality offer of my best what to do stuff for free, and I was willing to spend the money, time, and effort to get that out the door to them, and we do. We ingratiate ourselves to the extent that now they will reveal whether they are truly a prospect for us or not, and we'll engage in that prospecting relationship where we can build to the point where they become the best quality client that I can get. I probably, like you, for many years, any client's a good client. Not true. That is not true. You want to manufacture somebody who really understands your systems, is willing to trust you. My best clients really trust me. And so now we have these best clients because there are adjustments during the client stage. You might need a price reduction. You might need to take some harsh feedback about your house. You might need some of that to happen. So if we have gone all the way back from lead to prospect and now we arrive at client, we can get a successful outcome, which is that past client. And those are the folks that are likely to repeat and refer, presuming this whole system went this way. So it's extremely important to understand that the quality of the core raw material that remains all the way to the end is what buoys and supports the growth of the business at the back end, meaning those people, I call them at my company happy Griffins, right? Those people are very clearly more likely to repeat and refer. And of course, we don't ever forget them. We treat them like family because they are. So let me go back and chunk this up a little bit, right? So the subject on the table here is, are you setting your database up like an assembly line? I think Henry Ford here. And the points were, the reason we do this is to increase the number of quality relationships we're always manufacturing. We don't jump from one and closing, I have nothing. It's this continuous, always moving assembly line of relationship creation and cleansing. So that's the second point. Sift and sort through the raw material leads especially, and start off by acquiring better quality to find prospects, real prospects who have a real reason why they're going to do something inside the next 12 months. And on a motivation scale, are somewhere between a 9 and a 10 on a 10 scale. And clean out the rest. Stop hanging on to stuff that you're delusional about turning into business, even if you get a little bit of it. And third, work hard to manufacture the best material, because that becomes part of your happy past client list, and that's the accelerant to the business. Let me summarize it this way. Although it sounds cold at first to set your database up like a manufacturing assembly line, it's critical to do so to ensure that the best prospects are converted to clients who follow your plan and become part of your database's best asset, your happy past client list. All right, remember, I say it all the time, you can take immediate action to get started in the right direction if you need to sell or buy property right now or in the near future, inside of the 12 months, or you're an agent who wants some help, by going and getting our free step-by-step guides at griffincourses.com. Also, don't forget, of course, you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Or find us on any of our social media channels so that you don't miss out on any of the insights each time we upload an episode. We'd also appreciate it, of course, if you would comment and share our content with anyone thinking about selling or buying so that they get the help that they need to be successful. Remember, though, we say it the same way in all our podcasts, and my motto is this: nobody's coming for you. Nobody. So take action and get to work on your own plan for buying, selling, becoming an agent, whatever it is, your own plan. And we'll see you in the next episode to help you do just that. Thanks for listening.